Hello there. I'll just do a quick off-the-cuff reaction video to hearing David Davis's speech in Parliament, which I listened to on According to Carl in the UK's channel. So please subscribe to Carl's channel. He's doing a lot of excellent videos about this subject and other subjects, and the channel is obviously really growing and doing really well, and so I really recommend that channel, as I do so many others. And I'll try to do a list rundown at the end of some of the channels as well. But so I listened to the speech being broadcast from Parliament from David Davis via Carl's channel, the live he just did, and it was an excellent speech. And David Davis is hitting all the most powerful points, and obviously focusing early on with regard to the unreliability, the obvious unreliability of Dr. Dewey Evans. And he basically eviscerates him, and all the points have been said before in other venues, but it's so important that it's been said in Parliament in that way and put together in that way, in such a comprehensive way, all the aspects of it and where we currently stand with his obvious overt unreliability. And then another real high point of, well, it's a low point in terms of it being absolutely tragic, is David Davis's reiteration of what Dr. Taylor said in the Mark MacDonald press conference recently in respect of baby O and what's happened there, and in respect of two of the other babies, baby C, and I can't remember the other initials, sorry. It's too much to take in and remember, but either way, the speech is out there to listen to. So he's hit all those main, very salient, powerful points. And then there's a bit of a response from someone in the Parliament who's at the debate, which is a good response, a sympathetic response. And there's another response that comes in, which is, but eventually you get to this so-called Justice Minister. I looked up her name, and her name was said, but I can't even be bothered. I'm not even going to bother to repeat the name. I don't care who she is. I don't care what the job is. But it's a machine. It's a machine talking. It's a Starmerite, dead, psychopathic machine talking in this robotic voice, in this series of absolute banalities, like it's been written by some really bad computer code. And it's just a dead voice, piling out this list of it's like dead language. There's nothing there. So the stark comparison between the arguments made, the obvious emotional involvement of David Davis, but not emotional, but emotion attached to reason, as he listed all the problems with this obvious miscarriage of justice, and why a retrial is absolutely essential. Or really, I believe, and I suspect he also believes, that a simple quashing of the verdicts, that it's unsafe. It's unsafe, so you don't need to retrial it. And I don't think it would ever come to that. It's not going to come to a retrial, because the prosecution couldn't mount a case and couldn't get any experts. They've run out of all the usual suspects, and they've run out of their main man, Evans, who's a to them now a dead loss, as well as being a fraud and a sadist and a psychopath. This is what we're living under now, and this rant, this ghastly rant with barely a pause, a bit like mine right now, but different, by this minister. I literally can't be bothered to remember the name. That's how much I care. It was so different in tone, in feeling. Everyone will realise that. And this government's hated, and they know they're hated. They know they're despised by the vast majority of this country. They know that, and they don't care. So they're just there in that position. And she's like a creature of Starmer, And what is a Starmer? What is a Starmer? A profoundly corrupt, globalist, apparatchik, and I believe yet another psychopath in a position of power. Anyway, all that aside, on the positive side is that it doesn't matter. I felt I was really buoyed up by, excuse me, I was buoyed up by. David Davis's speech was beautifully constructed, incredibly clear. And then I was hearing like the voice of power, naked, raw, power that shouldn't be there. I was just trying to think of the word then. Illegitimate power was in that voice by that so-called justice minister. Don't care the name, don't care, because you could put anybody else in there and they'd do the same thing in that same kind of way. It was the voice of illegitimate power, trying to cling on, trying to just this list of absolute banalities and dead statements, dead language. And what it did, it revealed David Davis's speech. Moreover, all the arguments in his speech in greater relief. It showed them with greater force, power, and moral clarity. The differentiation was so stark, so it doesn't matter. In actual fact, it's not that you would have needed that justice minister, which would never would have happened, or the injustice minister, to start agreeing, saying, "Oh, yeah, that was a fantastic speech, David. We're as concerned as you are. We need to get to the bottom." No, that would never have happened. But it's okay. It's okay because it's not about what their reaction was today in Parliament. It's not about that dead psychopathic reaction. That's expected. It's about that speech, not to Parliament, but to us, but to the people and all the people that will hear it, and the power of it, and the power of it going now to the media who know what the story is now and know what the story is going to be in the future. And that's what they're hungry for now, is the new story. And I'm not saying they're all cynical like that, because obviously there have been some journalists doing some amazing work, in the Telegraph, in the Guardian, and in the New Yorker, obviously, and elsewhere, and other people working on it, from a media background, individuals. But the media as a whole can sense that the story it's turned, it's tipped over now. And they're looking for the story, and that's what drives them. That's what drives them selling their newspapers, selling their TV programs, essentially getting viewers, is getting the story. They'll recognise that from a purely commercial point of view, because it's in terms of the actual whole. I'm not talking about those individual journalists who've been doing excellent work. Really been doing excellent work. Anouk Curry, Felicity Lawrence, Sarah Napton. And others. Sorry if I can't remember all the names, but what mattered today was that speech getting out, which has got to be, will be, obviously, taken up by all the mainstream media, really. And some will go with weird angles still. They're still trying to cling on. The emotional manipulation of that Justice Minister, almost saying, oh, well, it's almost kind of trying to guilt trip the idea of doing a speech that David Davis did, almost. But it's not going to work. That kind of arch brutalist manipulation cannot and will not work anymore, because people know that the truth is what matters, and the truth should matter and does matter to those parents as much as it does to everyone else, and as much as it does to Lucy Letby and her family. For all of us, it's not just for certain people. The truth is the truth. And the truth, the well springs of justice is the truth. That's where you get the justice from, because you're dealing with truth as opposed to lies and cover up and manipulation and corruption. But that's what's saturating this country in every possible way at the moment. So in a way, I feel differently about it now. That interjection by this robot at the end, by this soulless entity, this Starmerite, Stasi, weird, strange, I don't know what they are anymore. And there's so many of them now in all kinds of places where you try to resolve problems. It's like there's nothing there. But anyway, sod all that. David Davis's speech was magnificent. It was brilliant. It was incredibly powerful. And for all those people that didn't see or didn't take notice of, or didn't see Mark MacDonald's press conference. It's now been reiterated in Parliament. This is the crux of it for me personally. I thought in Parliament that a doctor, namely Dr. Stephen Breary, caused the death of a child, and then that death was reframed as a murder for which someone is in prison for. And it's so you could say, well, it's not all of them. Well, yeah, that's one of the major cracks in the dam now in terms of. I mean, there are others as well, but it's so stark and so powerful that it will set a train of awareness, a light. I'm trying to think of an analogy, like lights lighting up down a track. People will get it. People will get that and think, "Oh my God!" So if they could do that, if that doctor could do that, know that he'd killed that baby through his medical error, through his negligence, actually, through his poor skills and poor ability to understand what he was doing, Breary. If he could do that and cover it up, what else have they covered up? What else are they covering up? And Evans, if Evans got that wrong, what else did he get wrong? I'm talking about the people that are quite fairly new to this, who have just accepted the so-called official story so far and gone along with it and said, "Oh God, yeah, that's a murderer," knowing very little about it, not investigating it in any way whatsoever. So that's what it's doing. It's shining a light out. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, as they say, and what we need is this. Got to clean up this place and this country, and one of the main things is that evil Starmer regime's got to go. And I'd like to say I think it should go by any means necessary. It's demonic. It's demonic, as so many other so-called leaders are across the world right now, and some of them are falling. But Starmer needs to. It's not just him, not just isolated in him. It's everything that collects around him and the mentality. But that's it. So I feel quite positive about very positive about David Davis's speech and the effect it's going to have. It's not about what happened in that chamber. It's everyone else hearing that speech, including the media and all of us. That's what matters. So that absolute, well, I was going to say fool. That's not a fool at the end. It's someone who's very, very. These people are dangerous. There's no soul there. There's no heart there. There's no care for justice or truth. Absolute narcissistic, psychopathic manipulation to try to guilt trip people about talking about it. It's the same level. I put it in the chat on Carl's live. I said that Justice Minister at the end got the same energy as your bog standard commenter on Crime Scene to Courtroom channel. That's the level that she's at. And that's the level that this vicious and vile and sick and evil government is at, really. But we've had enough of that, and we're not accepting that. It's just not good enough. And people won't accept it. They won't accept it. And the tide, has it turned? Yes, it's definitely turned. And it's coming in, and it's bringing truth. It's bringing justice with it. It's setting things right. And thanks again to Carl for broadcasting that and doing the live about it as it was happening. That's according to Carl in the UK channel. Tea Break with Tash is doing lots of videos lately, some brilliant videos about other subjects as well. Obviously, Black Squareable and Jabes Aloud and the ducking stool. Richard Gill, obviously, wonderful man. Who's just, this is going to be. Well, I said to Richard when we did the discussion, I think it was, or it might have been in an email, this is your third involvement in one of these miscarriages of justice. No, it's actually the fourth, because Richard has been working and helping, I think alongside Mark MacDonald with regard to Ben Geen as well. So what a magnificent track record and drive towards justice and honour and truth that Richard Gill has trod all these years now, for years and years, in different countries as well. And I listened to a SoundCloud recording on Richard Gill's SoundCloud, and he's got a recording there talking about the times that the Dutch police brought these letters. These Dutch police brought these letters to Richard Gill's door from the Cheshire police, basically warning him off and saying that, he's in danger of being arrested if he carries on trying to influence this trial. And that's the disgusting level we're in this country. It is a kind of fascism. It's I don't know if you call it fascism, communism. I don't know. It's an ism, bastardism. It's a totalitarian mindset is what it is, and that's what Starmer typifies. What the hell is a Starmer? What is it? It's just, there's not. I don't believe these people are human. I don't see them as human. I don't see them as having normal human reactions at all. I don't. Now and again, they kind of make a passable fist of seeming human. I just don't believe they are. And that's what I think about psychopaths generally. I don't see, they're not human. They're not human. I'm not saying they're aliens. I'm just saying they're missing something essential, and that's basically a conscience. It's a conscience. And so you're dealing with something without a conscience. And I don't see that as fundamentally it's humanoid. It's in a human shape. But something like a Brewery, there's no conscience there. And an Evans, there's no conscience there. And a Jairam, there's no conscience there. So there's quite a bunch of them around, isn't there? There's quite a lot of them around. But anyway, that's my rant. And well done, David Davis. So many other channels I could mention, which I mentioned on a previous video as well. Operation Merlin Falcon, fantastic channel. I've got to listen to more of that. and Stuart Gillam. Let me try to think of a few more. Yeah, obviously Richard Gill has his own channel as well. I've said Black Squareable and Tea Break with Tasha. And there's lots on there. I just can't remember them all at the moment. But there's a lot. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot out there. I mean, that's amazing. It's transformed. The sort of the vista, as it were, the territory we're in is completely different than it was on places like YouTube, than it was in 2023 and in the first part of 2024, or the majority of 2024. But it's absolutely changed out of all recognition. And the push for the truth and the push for Lucy Letby's exoneration is irrepressible now. Do you remember? I don't know if this is a bit of a segue. Do you remember that old series Monkey? I loved that series Monkey. I don't know if it's people of the same vintage would remember it on TV, but it's a series, a Chinese series about folk tales, Monkey, and there was a kind of a fish character and a pig sort of based character, but but they were like played by actors, and then there was a Zen monk called Tripitaka. But there's this brilliant song in it with some spoken words and fantastic theme music. But it goes about Monkey because the nature of Monkey, the four worlds formed and formed again, and the nature of Monkey was irrepressible. And I always remember that. I love that line. The nature of Monkey was irrepressible. So I just thought of that, thinking of that word, irrepressible. Yeah, the need, the human need for justice, for fairness. Basically, what is justice other than fairness? For fairness is irrepressible. It won't. Yeah, you can keep people down for a certain amount of time. You can enforce a lie by force. You can make a lie, make people lie out of making them frightened, coercion, so forth. But the spirit human spirit, where there are actual humans, won't stand for it forever, and we will always fight back against it. And that's devoid of humanity, robotic, what was it, I don't know, stream of verbiage from that so-called justice minister is one of the last. It's, it's like someone talking in a language that is dead a long time ago, and you can hear it. You can hear that it's vacant, it's dead completely. And it never was alive, so it's a zombie language and it's a zombie energy. Anyway, I'm going all over the shop now. Please look at all the channels that I've mentioned. Getting out of breath. But yeah, I think it's a really good day. I think David Davis absolutely smashed it in all the ways he needed to, in the right way, with the right amount of weight to it, and the positioning of the points he made, and the structure of the speech. Beautifully done, beautifully delivered. Beauty in the sense that John Keats has it when he says, truth is beauty and beauty is truth. That is all ye know, and all ye need to know. Truth is beauty and beauty is truth. So I'll leave it there before I start quoting some other poets, so you don't need it. You don't need it, do you? But anyway, no, we do actually. We do need it. But I think we do. God bless, and yeah, very, very, very positive day. Who cares what a sort of tenner penny Starmerite says at the end? What mattered is what David Davis said, essentially to the world today from Parliament. And thank you, David Davis. All the best to everyone out there. Bye-bye. Hello there. And there's also the channel A Liberated Mind, which is a really excellent channel for fantastic insights there. And I've mentioned a lot of the other ones as well. There's the channel AMC, which is Anouk Curry's channel, who's a fantastic investigative journalist who's also been working alongside John Sweeney. So John Sweeney Raw is his channel as well. And just looking down at on the computer here, there's Lucy Letby Films, which has done some amazing stuff, which is getting a really strong reach, really far reach in terms of viewers. And then there's Lucy Letby, The Case for Innocence. That's another excellent channel as well. And there are other ones, I know there are, but I haven't got them all in one consolidated list. But so that's A Liberated Mind, really a great one to look at. And I've mentioned Black Squarable and Tea Break with Tasha, which is a great channel, and she's doing a lot of other really interesting videos about other subjects as well. Tasha is. And yeah, Lucy Letby, The Case for Innocence. I've mentioned John Sweeney. So there's so many really. Operation Merlin Falcon, I've got to catch up with those. And on the podcasting scene, it's Michael McConville. And prior to that, Michael McConville alongside Peter Elston in their series called We Need to Talk About Lucy Letby. Lucy Letby. But Michael McConville on his own, in his podcast series, The Other Side of Lucy Letby, and that's where you can find it on all different podcast sort of platforms, and so that's fantastic. I got to catch up with those as well, and they're amazing. So yeah, it's all, and obviously Dr. Scott McLachlan, who was the person I was first really relating to in a major way back in 2023 with his Substacks called Law Health Tech. Excuse me, Law Health Tech Substacks. And speaking of Substacks, Callie Starforth, like star and then forth, Forth, Callie Cally, put that into Substack. The Substack is the platform, and she's done some amazing essays essays about this terrible miscarriage of justice. So I think that's a kind of broad rundown, but no doubt I've missed. I said Stuart Gillham's done some amazing work. So there's lots of people now, and so many different voices coming from so many different angles with their own kind of style, and which matters, I think, because it's just the way of things, really. Some people like really structured, well presented videos with graphics and things like that, and other people don't mind, kind of just more off the cuff things. So it's just horses for courses, isn't it? Really, the ducking stool I mentioned. Really, I find that a very powerful and convincing approach and style to looking at these things. Style in the sense of attracting people to listen, really, and to hear these arguments. And there's an element of style to all writing, to all speaking, to all presenting, and not everybody is everybody's cup of tea. I know some people say I go on too long, or I should have prepared more, or whatever. But I started off speaking off the cuff about this, and I've never really changed. And there are deficits to doing that, but there are positives as well. So it's a kind of a mixture of things. But not everybody likes everything. But that's a list of many of the wonderful channels doing things. I don't know what's going on Twitter at the moment, because I haven't been on there for a month, and I've deleted the account. And so yeah, that's it, really. I'll leave it there, and have a good evening. It's quite exhausting, isn't it? A lot of things, maybe, but it's exhilarating as well. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Take care. Bye-bye.